catching this live. For those of you who are joining me on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn, good morning and hello, or I should say good afternoon. It's 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, and I am pumped, as per usual, to connect with you guys on Mondays. Welcome to Monday's Q&A. And so today, what we're going to talk about is really just being able to answer your questions as you are coming into the room. Tell me where you are from. Put a 1 in the chat if this is your first time joining me. If this is your first time joining me, please drop a 1 in the chat and tell me where you are from. If you are not new to this, but you are true to this and you have been rocking with your girl for some time, I want you to drop a 2 in the chat and tell me where you are from. Okay. And if you are catching this on the replay, I want you to comment #replay and let me know that you are here. Okay. So if this is your first time joining me, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat and tell me where you are from. If this is not your first time and you are a part of this tribe, I want you to drop a 2 and tell me where you are from. And if you're catching this on the replay, I want you to comment #replay and let me know that you are here. So I'm seeing folks from everywhere. I'm seeing folks from Arizona. I'm seeing folks from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Sweden. I'm seeing folks from ATL. I'm seeing folks from India, from Jamaica. Let's see, from New York City. I'm trying to catch up with all of y'all. New York is in the building. Brooklyn is in the house. So listen, if you are a 2, could you please help me welcome all of the ones that are joining the conversation? If you are a 2, help me to welcome all of the ones that are joining the conversation. And I want to be able to just share a bit of kind of a recap of what I have been working on over the last couple of days. So over the last couple of days, I had the opportunity to travel and to speak and to share with some incredible women across 3 different states, and it's been really exciting to be able to do that. So I see folks are joining us on YouTube from Charlotte, and I see folks joining us on LinkedIn from London. Hey, friends. So my computer is over on this side, and then all of my recording is over on this side. So if you see me looking over, that's why it is. But one of the common themes that I heard over the weekend at the places and spaces that I was in was how to deal with imposter syndrome. What do you do in those types of instances? How you can show up unapologetically, and what you can do to be able to own your authority as a woman in the work space. And then the other thing that I heard of from hiring managers, specifically hiring managers, is the disconnect that they are seeing between candidates who are interested for the role, candidates who get hired, and then expectations. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that. And then, of course, I'm going to be answering your questions. In the chat right now on IG is my sister from another mister, Miss Sharice Buchanan. And so Sharice is going to be answering some questions and moderating the chat for me. In the event that you ask a question and I miss one, speaking to Sharice is like speaking with me. So definitely make sure that you drop your questions in the chat. If you are asking your questions on IG, know that Sharice or I will get to your questions. But the first thing that I want to talk about is imposter syndrome, and how to deal with that. It's a common theme that comes across with my clients. It's a common theme that I heard over the weekend at the places and spaces that I was in, at the conferences that I was teaching at. And the first thing that I'm going to suggest for you, before I even give you tea on what to expect, I'm going to encourage you to have something to write with, because if you are joining me for the first time, baby, let me tell you, I'm going to be giving you some real practical tea in the next couple of minutes for you to be able to combat this imposter syndrome, especially as it relates to women of color, women in general, but women of color in the workplace. You're going to want to take some notes on what I'm about to share, because I don't want you to feel or miss anything that I'm going to be sharing with you. Okay. So the first thing that I want you to pay attention to, especially as you are dealing with imposter syndrome, is what does the data say? Okay. One of the things that we talk about in our group coaching program, Advance, is what does the data say? We encourage you to take notes and to start tracking the work that you have been doing, because when you can take notes and when you have that type of data, then when the voice inside your head that tells you that you're not smart enough, you're not fast enough, they'll never notice you, you can't apply for that job, the data will tell you something differently. So the first thing that I'm going to encourage you to pay attention to is, what does the data say? Okay. So I want you to write that in the chat. What does the data say? Because your feelings are fleeting, ladies and gentlemen. Your feelings are fleeting. And so if you are letting your feelings take over your thought process, you will eventually work yourself into a tizzy and talk yourself out of an opportunity. Okay. So this is why the first thing that I want you to pay attention, the first thing that I want you to pay attention to is, what does the data say? What does the data say? And the reason that I'm telling you what does the data say is because many of you will get performance evaluations, you'll get accolades at work, you'll have your coworkers or even your supervisor tell you, oh, you're doing a great job, or you're exceeding expectations, or you're doing all of the things. And that is data. And if you are not tracking that data, then you will fall trap to just believing everything that falls into your head. And not every thought that comes into your head, ladies and gentlemen, is one that you should be pursuing. I'm going to say that again for the people who are in the back. Not every single thought that comes into your head should be a thought that you are pursuing. This is why you need the data. Because when your head is telling you you're not good enough, you can't apply for this position, you're not equipped, the data is telling you that you meet expectations, that you were able to launch a campaign successfully, that you were able to bring in new clients, that you were able to build relationships in a way that is powerful and makes the most sense for the organization. The other reason why you want to track the data is because when you're applying for new opportunities, you can go back to your data and say, okay, these are my transferable skills, and I have experience in doing what they are asking for. So this is why when we're going to combat imposter syndrome, you need to be able to assess, what does the data say? And we go deeper into this in our group coaching program called Advance. And in Advance, the application for Advance is going to be opening up on November 1st. And that's one of the things that we start to tackle head on, because before I can introduce you to new opportunities, before I can start working on your resume, before I can teach you how to nail an interview, you need to believe about you, what you are sharing with us. So in Advance, we go through, what does the data say? So if you're interested in learning more or getting on the wait list for Advance, so like that, what it's about and how you can get more information on it, I want you to comment the word Advance, 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 in the chat on IG, and Susana the bot will send you the information for you to get at least on the wait list, so we can send you more information. In Facebook, YouTube, and on LinkedIn, I'm going to drop the link for y'all so that you can get on the wait list as well, because November 1st, the application opens. And if you want to get more information on how to get in the program, then that's what you want to do. You want to click on that link on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. Okay. So if that is something that you struggle with, that's one of the things that I want you to pay attention to. What does the data say? Secondly, the other aspect to combating imposter syndrome is community. Community. So the first thing was, what does this data say? And secondly was community. Why community? Because as you grow in your career and as you develop your skill in your talent, not everyone should have access to you in the same way. I'm going to say that one more time. As you grow in your career and as you develop your skill and your talent, not everyone should have access to you in the same way. And the reason why community becomes so important is because you need other like-minded individuals who are going to help you to see yourself when you can't see yourself. And if you are not in the right community, you will find yourself second guessing who you are, what you can do. And also, if you are not in the right community, some people will only want you to advance or to excel up until a level where you don't surpass them. Ooh, I'm coming for edges today. Some people will only want you to advance or to excel up until a certain point s- so that you don't excel or exceed them. And one of the ways that you can tell that that happens is because there are going to be certain instances where people are telling you things like, oh, you doing too much. Oh, why you got to do all of that? It doesn't require you to be all this passionate about it. And in other instances, you just existing or you just being who you are, they might label you as aggressive. Where in other instances, they'll label somebody else as confident. You might get labeled as being too sensitive, where in other instances, you might get labeled, or others, I should say, others might get labeled as empathetic. If you are not in the right community and people are talking to you all kinds of which ways and sideways, then your assertiveness becomes something completely different. But it's because your confidence and your ability is agitating mediocre in them. And because you are pursuing excellence, they are more comfortable being mediocre. And if you follow me on any of the platforms that I'm on, there is one thing that you will not be. In this tribe, one thing that we are not trying to do is be mediocre. So this is why if you are struggling with imposter syndrome, you need to be paying attention to your data. And secondly, you need to be in the right community. One of the things that I love about going to these conferences where I'm at, and where I'm speaking at and where I'm teaching at is how powerful and how palpable transformation feels when you are right in the right community. Because everyone who is in the room is there to grow, is there to learn, is there to develop. But when you are the only one in your friend group or in your work group who is looking to excel, who is looking to become better, faster, stronger, you will feel burnt out real quick because you feel like you're doing this by yourself. Again, and it's wild, but the reason why I created Advance is because here's another thing that I hear a lot. The other thing that I hear a lot is I don't know how to network, or I don't feel comfortable networking, or you've tried to network and it has not gone the way that you anticipated. And so now you're tired. So within Advance, the program that I'm telling you about, we are very selective on who we let in, but secondly, we are creating an environment where you can network effectively. So like that, you are comfortable being seen, being valued, being heard, and being equipped. And one of the things that I love in teaching in Advance is combating the three fears that I see within men and women: the fear of being seen, the fear of the unknown, and the fear of success. Those are typically the three fears that I see people struggle with. And I don't got time to break those down. I did a whole live on those three fears: the fear of being seen, the fear of being heard, and the fear of the unknown. But those are the three biggest fears that I see amongst successful, high achieving men and women. Because you have, many of you that come into the program have more degrees than a thermometer. You have all of the certifications, you have all of the things, you have all of the experience. But somewhere along the line, someone said something, and now all of a sudden you're starting to question how good of an expert you are. Never mind that everybody's coming to you more often than not to ask for suggestions, to pick your brain, to ask for your opinion, baby, you need to be in the right community. Because if you're not careful, the community will either build you up or they will tear you down. Okay. So far I've told you two things as it relates to navigating imposter syndrome. What does the data say? And secondly, what community are you in? Okay. And I want to be clear in this statement, because community doesn't always need to necessarily mean that everybody looks like you. Let me say something right here. If everybody in your community looks and sounds and thinks exactly like you have now created an environment for you to stay at the same point and same place. If you are not in a community that is challenging you to grow, to excel, to think through perspectives differently, then likely you will find yourself in a constant rigmarole doing the exact same thing. And to me, that's insanity. Because to me, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And so let me ask you this. If you started off the year with a vision board or with a word for the year, whatever it is, you don't have to tell me. How much closer to that vision board have you gotten? Or did it just look good as something that you're putting up on your wall? How realistic and practically did you go after your word of the year, or did it just sound nice? See, when you're in the right community, people will pick you up and be like, this is what you said you were going to do. And for my kings and queens who are watching, what you do when you come into this community, we help you to adjust your crown. Because some of you have been in environments where you have had to thrive in chaos. And because you've had to thrive in chaos, you're not entirely sure what it looks like when you can actually receive a genuine compliment. How many of you, somebody gives you a compliment and you play it down? Oh, I'm pretty sure somebody would have come up with that. Oh, it's just something that I thought of. Oh, it's no big deal. I do that all the time. My friend, what are we talking about? Right? This is why when we're talking about interviews, if they called you for an interview, it's because they already think you're qualified. If they asked you to give a presentation, it's because they already think you're qualified. If they asked you to attend an event to represent the organization, it's because they already think you qualified. So why are we downplaying your ability? Okay, so the first thing that we talked about was the importance of identifying your data. The second thing is being mindful of the community in which you're in. And the third thing is managing expectations. Ooh, managing expectations. One of the most interesting conversations that I had over the weekend was speaking with hiring managers who are experiencing turnover. And not because they're not doing all of the things. They're trying to train their new hires. They're trying to develop their new hires. But some of these new hires are coming in with a false set of expectations. And if there's one thing you're going to get about Susana is real. Okay? Some of you are playing way too small. Some of you are playing way too small. And that's one of the things that we help you to identify in the program in advance. So if you comment the word advance, you'll get all of the information. At least you'll get the opportunity to get on the wait list, because on November 1st, the application for advance opens and we're only taking a few people. But some of you are playing way too small when it comes to your career path, how you show up, what you talk about, right? But others of you, your expectations are completely unrealistic. I'm going to say that one more time, and I'm going to try to tell you this in love. And not that I'm going to try to tell you this in love. It's just who I am. I'm telling you this in love because perhaps Others will tell you, and they in their telling you, they will tear you down. And that's not what I want. But when it comes to managing expectations, honey, you cannot expect to go for an interview or to go for a role and demand a certain salary or price point and not be able to talk about the value that you bring, the impact that you've made, the way that you can cast vision. One of the wildest things that I heard was that there were candidates who got hired, they got the role, and they didn't last more than, I'm going to say, 45 days, because they were not happy with the salary that they got, because they just graduated and they're anticipating that they should immediately be making six figures. Let me help you, some of you here. While it is true that you could graduate and go into a role that is a six-figure role, what impact have you made in order to demand such a role? Can you describe the value that you bring at a six-figure level in a way that trusts me to trust you to advance a mission or an initiative? And I don't need you to answer that question. I just need you to be real about you. I just need you to pay attention to what it is that you are saying that you can do. Because here's one thing companies don't want to work with. They don't want to work with liars. They want to be able to work with people who are brands. And man, again, I don't have the time to break this down during a live, but there is something different between someone who can identify themselves as a brand because they can talk about their value, they can talk about their impact, they can talk with confidence in terms of what they've been able to do and identify transferable skill. That when you have built that type of brand as an individual, whether you're doing it on LinkedIn, whether you're doing it on your resume, whether you're doing it public facing, then that as an organization, as a hiring manager, then that's the type of person I want to work with. But when you walk into a interview and you can't tell me about your impact or about the value that you bring or about how you've been able to identify your transferable skills and be able to be a solution to a problem, and you're expecting me to give you the whole moon, earth, and the stars, honey, it's not congruent with what I'm looking at. That's the first thing. So let's manage expectations. Secondly, if all you're doing is pursuing a paycheck, you will always feel like you're on a constant hamster wheel. Because at some point, if you're not careful, instead of you managing the salary will manage you. I can't tell you how many people go after a role just by the sheer number of a salary and don't look at what total compensation looks like. And so when you get to me, it's like, Susana, I'm ready to go for a six-figure role. Okay, great. But what if we get to a role that's a really great opportunity and they're not giving you six figures, but they're giving you the opportunity to create your own schedule, to match your 401k contribution, to have a specific amount of vacation time and sick time, to be able to pour into you so that you can develop your skill set and be able to grow in your career. That to me is perhaps way more powerful than any just six-figure role. Because two things, not all six-figure roles are created equal. And secondly, some of y'all are not necessarily at a place where you can handle the pressure that comes with running a six-figure role or being in a six-figure role. And this is why we have to start with attacking that imposter syndrome. I'm telling you, it all comes together. And these are things that we start to talk about in advance. Because if we are preparing you to land a six-figure role, and we've done all the things, we've worked on your resume, we've worked on your LinkedIn profile, we've updated your cover letter, we've given you the language, but your attitude and your expectations are out of whack, Please do not put my name on that. Because while the industry may be big, okay? While the industry may be big, the conversations and the industries, right? The conversations amongst the industries may be small. So if you don't think that hiring managers talk amongst themselves, let me be the first to tell you, oh, we talk often. And so if you have a attitude or if you have a certain expectation that is out of whack for the industry in which you are pursuing, honey, we got some work to do. Somebody's telling me that the link for the wait list is not working. Let me see what's going on. Hold on. Is this helping y'all today while I look up this link? Is this helping you? Give me 1 second. If this is helping you, I want you to write helping me in the chat. We're looking into the link for y'all. All right, I'm getting yeses. Beautiful. I'm getting yeses. All right, y'all are somebody said it's giving me a 404 error. Okay. All right. Fear not, my loves. Here's what we're going to do. This is why I like to have my computer up, because what I will do is that I'm going to share with y'all a link that you can leverage right now. And so this link will be for you to get on our newsletter. If you're not on my newsletter yet, you probably should be, because that's also where I'm going to be sharing this information. So just bear with me for a second. But while I bring that up, tell me what has been your biggest takeaway so far in terms of you being able to grasp what I'm sharing. Has it been, what does the data say? Has it been community, or has it been managing expectations? Of those three things, tell me which one of those three things has been the biggest takeaway so far. Community, the value of community. Absolutely. Community. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. If you comment the word advance, do me a favor. Let's test this out together. Talking about community in real time. If you are on IG, can you comment the word advance and tell me if the link is working for you right now? Because if it's not, we will fix it. But if you comment the word advance, we're going to test out this link, because I want to make sure that you guys can at least get on the wait list. Data. Absolutely, the data. The data becomes so important. The data becomes so important. One of the things that I find so interesting as it relates to data, I'm going to give you just some content and some context surrounding some of our recent clients. But one of the things that I find so interesting is that one of our clients, she went from not getting any interviews with us. Well, she went from before working with us, she wasn't getting any interviews. She was having a hard time being able to get interviews and land new opportunities, right? So when she came to us, she sent us all her things. We'll call her KB. KB came to us. She sent us all her things. She told us what she was dealing with. And we went through all of her information, right? All right, somebody said yes, it's working. If you commented the word advance, I'll finish telling you about KB. But if you commented the word advance, can you just double check and make sure that the link is working for you to be able to get on the wait list? I want to make sure that all of y'all can see it. It's good now. Okay. So if you comment the word advance on IG, beautiful. You'll be able to get on the wait list for the program. Applications for the wait list open on November 1st. Okay. So if you comment the word advance, you'll be able to get on the wait list for the advanced career coaching program. So KB, let me tell you about KB. KB came to us. She wasn't getting any interviews. She was having a hard time being able to articulate her value. And she was just like, I have all of the things, but nobody's getting back to me. Let me tell you a couple of things that we identified right off rip in working with KB. KB was at her role for, I'm going to say at her position, I want to say at least over 10 years. And she had already had tons of experience in the field that she was in. But she was applying for the same position that she was currently in at another organization. Here's why that becomes problematic from a hiring manager's perspective. Perhaps not from a recruiter's perspective, but definitely from a hiring manager's perspective. The reason why KB was having a hard time is because KB was already way too qualified. So when the hiring manager saw all of her application material, it was like, am I going to invest in hiring someone that likely is going to end up leaving 6 months to a year from now? Or do I go with a candidate who can grow into this role? Okay. So if it were you as a hiring manager, which one would you choose? Would you go with the candidate that likely is qualified, but because they're so qualified, they're probably going to get bored in the role and go someplace else? Or would you go with a candidate that perhaps is not as qualified, but can grow into the role? I can tell you from a hiring manager's perspective, we don't always want to be at the hiring table. Why? Because it's expensive, y'all. That's why. And there is a lot of time that goes into hiring. It's not just putting up a job description. It's creating the job description. It's going through all of the applications that we get. It's being able to identify the qualified candidates. It's conducting interviews and putting together interview committees. Once we've done all of that, then we can identify who it is that we want to have conversations with. And then we have to narrow that down. So I'm likely going to go with someone who is qualified, but that can grow into the role, instead of someone who checks all of the boxes, but 6 months later, I'm probably going to find myself hiring again. So when KB came to us, she was applying for these types of positions and she was getting looked over because she was way too qualified. Now, KB has been working with us, I want to say maybe 4 weeks. And in the 4 weeks, she was able to not only get all of her things updated, but she's been able to secure 8 interviews and has managed to make it through 2 final round interviews and now has her pick in terms of offers to which she wants to go into. It just depends, my love, on like which way you want to go. Right? So that's KB. Then there is our client AC, right? AC started working with us. And again, she was in a place where she was trying to transition. She was trying to grow. 3 sessions in, after we had worked on her documents, created a personal branding statement, how she was going to introduce herself, how she was going to talk about herself with authority. 3 sessions in, she already had an offer and was at the negotiation table. So she applied for a position. And then she got called for that position. And on top of that, she went through the interview process and they liked her so much that they made her an offer. And when I tell you they made her an offer, y'all, they made her a really good offer. It wasn't just the salary, but it was her sick time. It was her personal time. It was her vacation time. It was her EAP, her employee assistance program. Like there were so many aspects to the offer that now she was like, Susanna, I wasn't expecting it to go this quick. So, like, what do we do? So then we went through the offer and we negotiated. And like, if the company that you have been dying to work for, if they were to reach out to you today and send you an offer, would you feel comfortable negotiating with them right now? Do you feel ready and equipped to be able to do so? And if there's some hesitation in your response, then advance is probably going to be the program for you. Because if you're not comfortable being able to articulate your value, having a negotiation conversation with confidence, knowing what to look for, then advance is likely the way that you want to go. So if you comment the word advance on IG, you will be able to you will be able to you will be able to access the wait list to get onto the program. So I'm going to drop the link for my Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn squad. I'm dropping the link for you right now so that you can get on the wait list for the advanced coaching program. Because I want to make sure that at least you can get the information once we open the application for it. And here's the thing that I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to, I guess, a dirty little secret that not too many people know, is that there's always going to be more money, typically, on the new hire side than there's going to be on the internal side. New hire side and the internal side. The reason that I say that is because when you come in as a new hire, we by law, as if you are in the United States, by law, we have to be able to keep with the pace of the fair market value within a certain range, right? From the internal side, once you're in that role, if you have gotten to a point where you have already done all the things, but you're already at the higher end of that range, then fiscally and budget wise, we can't go above said range because you're already at the max. And so, in order for us to increase the range for you, typically the organization would have to increase the range across the board. And that is not an easy process, because that is going to require a bunch of consultants to come in. It's going to require a whole lot of searching and data. It requires a lot on the back end. And what happens is that you end up frustrated because you just feel like they don't want to give me the money that I want, or they don't want to entertain this conversation. So this is why it becomes important for you to know where you fall. Okay? So if you comment the word advanced, Susana the bot and my moderator Sharice will be able to send you the link for you to be able to get on the wait list. If you comment the word advanced and you cannot access the link, just pay attention to my stories, and in my stories on IG, I'll make sure to have it so like that you can go there. The first question that I got is, what are your thoughts on switching jobs right now? My thoughts on switching jobs right now is make sure that you have the right opportunities lined up instead of pursuing endless possibilities. I'm going to say that one more time. Make sure that you have the right opportunities lined up instead of pursuing endless possibilities. And then my second thought is, in this type of economy, I would encourage you not to leave a new position until you have the right position to move into. That's first. And the right position can look like an in-between job. And again, I don't have a lot of time to go into that, but there's nothing wrong with you taking an in-between job until you can find the job. You just have to make sure that you have a strategy. So that's my thought on switching jobs right now. Is it possible? Absolutely. Do you need a strategy? 1000%. Let's see. Question here is, recently I left a toxic job And now I'm in my first six-figure position, and I'm being so validated and affirmed, and it feels so weird. How do I get comfortable in this new positive environment so I don't sabotage it? The first thing is make sure you get into the right community. So now that you've gotten into a new environment where you're being affirmed and you're being confirmed, you need to be surrounding yourself with other people who are experiencing that same thing. Again, one of the reasons that we create Advance is because for too many of y'all, you have fallen into the thought process of um, isolation. And so it's easier for you to sabotage something because you let your thoughts run ragged and run wild. And so because you're used to struggle in certain environments, then when you get into the right environment, you don't know how to handle that. You need to have the right community, my love. Because if you're not in the right community, you unknowingly will fall into old behaviors that you used to do because you just needed to survive. And in the right community, you will learn new behaviors that will help you to continue to keep your stride. Notice the difference. There is striving and there is surviving. It's totally up to you where you want to fall, but you need the right community for that. But great question, and congratulations to you. I have an opportunity to make slightly more than I am currently making and move into six figures. I'm scared to leave a stable job in this economy. So I'm confused. If you have an opportunity to pursue a role where you're making more, and you're nervous to leave, I guess my question to you would be, what makes you nervous to leave if the role that you could be making more at seems like a steady role? If it does not seem like a steady role, then there are some questions that you perhaps need to start asking yourself. One of the things that I don't think there's enough conversation around is golden handcuffs. And golden handcuffs pretty much means that you're in a position that makes you so comfortable that you make decisions based off of fear. And instead of pursuing something that's better for you, you choose to stay because number one, the money is good. You don't really like the work and you don't really like the people that you work with, but you rather stay because this is the devil that you know, and you rather work with the devil that you know. That's a mindset thing. So you need to address that. That would be the first thing. And then the second thing that I would say is evaluate your options. Because if it's costing you your peace, my love, it's too expensive. All right. And the last, oh, those were the questions that I had. All right. So again, if you comment the word advance on IG, we will send you the link for you to get on the wait list for the program. If you comment the word advance, we will send you the link on IG for you to get on the program, on the wait list for the program. And on YouTube, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn, I am sending y'all the link right now. Oh man, y'all, I have chunky fingers, and typing at the same time sometimes gets really interesting. But on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook is the link for you to join Advance. Okay. And we will be opening the application for Advance on November 1st. So if you feel like, you know what, January 2025, I want to be in a new opportunity and I want to grow and I want to do all of the things, then this is likely the one for you. This is likely going to be the program you want to be a part of. Because over that time frame that we're together, we'll be doing all the foundational stuff. Yes, we will help you with your resume. Yes, we will help you with interviewing. Yes, we will help you with all of those things. But really, the things that we want to be able to help you with is how to articulate your value, how to be able to identify the right roles. How do you drive a conversation based off of impact? What does it look like to negotiate and negotiate effectively? You'll be able to ask questions to our coaches and to myself within our group. So we have a specific group and community that's dedicated for Advance. So there's going to be a lot that goes into that. And so consider it like your gift to yourself to make sure that you are not in a place of just surviving, but in a place of striving. Okay. So if that is where you're at and you feel like, man, I really do struggle with imposter syndrome, I really do struggle with articulating my value, I don't know how to build a brand. You want to hear something interesting? So at the events that I was this weekend, if you were to introduce yourself, for those of you who are employed and you are in a role, can you introduce yourself without using your title? I always find that so interesting. Can you introduce yourself without using your title? Because if the title were to be stripped away for you, could you still be the same powerful individual that you are? And I can tell you that took me some time to develop, because for ages, whenever I went out, whenever I did things, I would introduce myself as, my name is Susana Briscoe-Alba, and I am the da 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 da. I'm the director of sales. I am the dean of admissions and financial aid. I am the associate director of X. But if I were to be attending or networking an event, could I introduce myself without having to depend on a title? Because if nobody's told you, you are more than just your title. So could you introduce yourself without having to leverage your title? And so that's one of the things that we teach you. Because the biggest thing that I find with clients who have either been let go or their company has worked with a restructuring, they just feel lost. They don't know who they are anymore, because for years they've been under a specific title. And so now that I don't have that title, who am I? In advance, we work on that, because that's a part of your brand. Who are you? And what do you want to be known for? So I'll leave you with that. So listen, I'm glad I was able to connect with y'all. I'm glad that y'all joined me today. Again, Advance is going to be opening up on November 1st. So if you comment the word Advance on IG, you will be able to get on the wait list so that you can get information on how you can work with me in this program. It's me that shows up. It's me that's teaching you. It's me and my coaches that are going to be reviewing your resumes. It's me and my team that are going to be giving you just like real time support. There will be office hours, like all the things. So I'm really excited to do this with y'all, because it's really going to be transformational. And again, these are things that I wish someone would have shared with me as I was growing and learning. If you joined the live, okay? If you joined the live and you want more information on Advance and you could not get the link, I'm going to post it in my stories, okay? I'm going to post it in my stories here on IG so that you can get access to it, okay? So if you comment the word Advance now, you'll be able to get the link. But if you struggle with the link, I'm going to post this to my stories. So like that, you can join us and you can get more information and get you on the wait list, okay? So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me. I hope that today was just practical ways that you can leverage things that you can do to be able to win in your career. I'll recap very quickly the 3 things that I told you that you need to be paying attention to. What does the data say? What community are you in? And manage your expectations. What does the data say? What community are you in? And manage your expectations. Okay? So I can't wait to connect with y'all soon. I can't wait to open this application and share it with y'all. And if you are struggling on getting onto the wait list, follow my stories today, because I'm going to be dropping the link there as well for you to be able to get on the wait list for it. Okay. So I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Y'all go be great. And I'm sending y'all hugs from here. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a great week. Bye, everybody.